Well, we have another question for you. You talk about think leader. You might think means think male. So, in your opinion, how can women overcome this barrier, which is a kind of perception, isn't it, as I understand from talking with you?
I think that this perception has been predominant for a while. It's getting better, but we haven't completely overcome it. I call it the challenge of the pinstripes versus the pink stripes, where people automatically want to assume that the person who is a leader, particularly if they're dealing with names that are not familiar. So because my name is not that common in communities that don't know it, when people come to the office to meet the CEO, they automatically are looking for Mr. Athmani. And when I get up to greet them, they think I'm the secretary who's going to receive them to take them to Mr. Athmani's office. And I think many of you can relate to that. People just don't expect that you could possibly be, the leader in charge as a woman. And I think that the expectations, when they realize that you are the leader, that are placed on female leaders are completely unreasonable. So you are expected to deliver over and beyond within your position. At the same time, you're expected to be a perfect mother helping the children with the homework. You have to be a fantastic cook. You have to look beautiful at the same time. You must be this wonderful daughter and sister. I mean, it's not possible. And what I say to myself, and I say to women when I talk to them, don't kill yourself trying to do it all. You can't. I have a very simple formula for myself in my office and in my house. I say I need systems, I need processes, and I need people. I delegate, I outsource, I enrich, I outreach. I cannot do it myself. So my job, and I say this to my husband, and really I cannot repeat enough what the women have said, having a strong support system. I say to him, my job is to procure that there is food on the table. How I get the food there is my business. Whether I cook it, whether I outsource it, I mean, there is food on the table. My job is done. Because there are things I cannot delegate. I have to be there myself for family, so I cannot delegate other things. At the same time, I think the other challenge that is placed on women is if you are found to have a shortcoming, and we all do, it is blown up to a point that a lot of women find it very difficult to put themselves out in positions. If I look at the politics, for instance, in Kenya, I can't talk about other places. When you talk to female politicians, they say this is hard because the battle out there is nasty, and people want to drag any challenge or shortcoming that you have out into the public, and for a woman that's very, very difficult. And so many women don't put themselves out because there's always somebody trying to pull you down. But I think in terms of how do we overcome these challenges, looking ahead and looking back, because I think to move forward we must always really keep looking back, is that one thing is to keep reminding ourselves that the industrial age is over. The days of looking at, okay, this is the assembly line in the factory, we are producing 10 cars a minute, can we do 100 cars a minute from just working harder? Those days are over. We've moved to the knowledge worker age, and now I like to call it we are in the innovation worker age. It's about working smarter, and women are very good at being able to inspire people to give their best, because right now it's about teamwork. It's about wanting people to turn up to work, not just to earn a salary, but really to give the best of themselves. And I think the natural intuition that we have, the ability to rally teams together, to give their best, to mentor people, is one characteristics that women leaders bring to the workplace that really helps us in what we are doing. The other thing is attention to detail. Very, very important, particularly when we are looking at innovation being key, when we are looking at partnerships, the ability to stay focused on what are the details that one needs to be, to keep an eye out for. Particularly when you're dealing with cross cultures, very important. Maybe in your culture something is acceptable, but you go into a community where something is such an offense. And that ability to keep attention to those type of details is very important, particularly when we are doing cross-cultural and cross-border engagements. the ability to think not only of the bottom line in terms of profits, but also look at the interest of a wider range of stakeholders, looking at more ethical decisions, considering the environment, considering the wider community. I think that's another area helping us in terms of doing business, particularly in the world we are living in today, that it's about the bottom line is not just one level. It used to be triple. I think now we've added many more lines to that, and really women, I think we are very good at that. As well, multitasking. I think multitasking is something that comes naturally to women, and within the workplace, when you're trying to keep your eye on all these different things, I think it's a characteristic, an inherent characteristics that's very helpful. Having said that, I think that leadership, whether a man or a woman, there are characteristics that are common and that everybody comes across in their own different way when you are a leader. One thing I say is the importance of being authentic. And being authentic is really being the very best version of yourself. You know, there isn't much point in trying to be anybody else. You'll be a very poor version of somebody else. But whoever it is that you are, can you be the very best version of yourself and helping to deliver value not only to yourself but to others? The need to prioritize. We have a lot of things that need to get done, and particularly as women, which are your priority areas that A, need to be done, B, that need to be done by you, and C, what can you delegate, what can you help get others to help you with. I find for myself, and I encourage those that I work with or those that I interact with, that it is more important to be kind than to be right. I find that. You don't know what other people's journeys are about. And so focusing on constantly being right without really understanding somebody's contextual environment, you can result in a situation where you totally destroy somebody. So for me, it's much more important to approach an issue from the point of being kind than from a point of being right, which is a challenge because I'm a lawyer and I always look at the legality and the rightness of something. But really, it's much more important that I try and do that. The issue of adding value, very important for all of us as leaders. Whose life have you touched? Which other leaders have you created? What mark have you left? I don't think there is much point in being a statistic. The reason that all of us in this room were created to look different. You know what I mean? God had the power to create all of us to look the same. The reason that he decided we should look different is that each of us are here to add value in our own individual ways. So find what your way is and add value. I think the final thing I want to say, I learned this from a teacher in Oxford actually a few years ago, and it really resonated with me. And anytime I talk to people, I like to remind them about this. Don't take yourself too seriously. Really, the sun will rise with or without you. Many leaders have come, and many leaders have gone. You too will go. The idea is while you're here, add value so that your being here means something, but don't take yourself too seriously. Smell the roses, listen to the birds, enjoy yourself, go out with the children, give your best while you're at work, but there is more to life than that, so don't take yourself too seriously.
Thank you.